All right, everybody, how's it going? It is Friday, September 4th, 2020, and it's that time of year again where we have some predictions we need to make. I was going to release this video yesterday along with the NFC South prediction video, but I lost power for like most of the day, so I had to make it today. And yeah, here we are. We're at the 2020 NFL predictions videos. So the way this is going to break down, I'm going to do the AFC and NFC division in the same day. So I'm doing 4 videos today. So you're getting kind of a treat. You're getting the AFC South, NFC South, AFC West, and then NFC West. And then tomorrow you're going to get the AFC North, NFC North. And then on Sunday you're going to get the final video, AFC East versus and NFC East, how those two things are going to go. On Monday you'll get the pick'em video. You know, the what the channels primarily does is make pick'em videos for the NFL, and that'll be pretty good. And then we'll also release the playoff predictions, and then on Tuesday it'll be our random predictions. Everything's leading up to the start of the season on Thursday, guys. We're almost here. September 10th is kickoff, so it's the 4th. We're 6 days away. Everything's getting closer and closer and closer. This time next week we'll be talking about how that Chiefs and Texans game went. So you know, I'm excited. I hope you are, and I hope you're ready to have some fun times making some predictions. We're going to start with the AFC South, of course, and the way this will break down inside this video is we will look at how the division looked last year. You know, the Jaguars went 6-10, the Colts went 7-9, the Titans went 9-7, and the Texans won the division going 10-6. Both the teams that are highlighted made the playoffs. I think that's quite obvious. None of the teams had great playoff success, minus the Titans, who were able to upset the Patriots, and they also beat the Ravens before being, eventually defeated by the Chiefs, who went on to win the Super Bowl. So good little run for Tennessee last year. It was kind of an unexpected season for them, with the sudden resurgence of Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry coming to life late in the season. Very good little year for the Titans. The Texans, they have Deshaun Watson. They kind of ride him. They had DeAndre Hopkins. They have this fun little offensive defense that's kind of questionable. We'll see how that goes for next year. The Colts dealt with they started white hot. They were one of my favorites to win everything before the Andrew Luck retirement last year. But they lost him. Then Brissett got hurt, and they won like 2 more games after that point that year. It was a pretty rough year for the Colts, but they had a very good offseason, so we'll see how that plays. And then gonna get worse for you Jaguars fans. I don't know what to tell you. Everybody's gone. You got Miles Jack and like some offensive linemen, I think, that are still kicking it. But overall, I think you guys are in a pretty rough shape over in Jacksonville. Let's take a quick peek at the AFC South predictions. These are the 2020 standings predictions. We'll give the record, we'll give their place, we'll give the place, the record, and then we'll give the key some key losses and some key additions. Obviously, I don't have all of them, and if I miss some, that's my fault. I did my best. I scummed around. These are my thoughts. These are dirty Rob TV's thoughts on the season. So we think the Jaguars will probably finish right around 3-13. Could be worse for them. They could be a shock, and go as high as 5-11, but they're tanking. Look at these losses. They lost Leonard Fournette, Yannick Ngakoue, Calais Campbell, AJ Boy, Nick Foles, Ronnie Harrison. That was the most recent one, their safety. And it's not to mention during the season last year, they also gave up on talented Jalen Ramsey. So this team is bare. They added in Tyler Eifert, rookies, CJ Henderson, Chason, Laviska Shenault Jr. That's what the asterisks are. And then they also added in Joe Schobert. That's it. That's what the Jaguars have coming at you this year. I may be missing some people, but those are talented rookies. They have Josh Allen still on the team. They have Gardner Minshew, Tyler Eifert. They have a decent set of receivers that they can throw the ball around to, but man, with the they flushed out the front office, and now they're flushing out players. It's clearly a full-scale rebuild here in Jacksonville, and they want a high draft pick. They have lots of draft picks. I think they have 13 or 14 already next year. The first pick they're going to have is going to be very high, within the top 3 picks of next year's draft. And so that's just something it's just something to expect for the Jaguars this season. Not the best year coming, guys. It's going to be tough. It's going to be one of the worst years in recent memory for them. I personally think, are they going to be the worst team? Depends how the Washington football team plays. So yeah, they didn't add enough. They lost a bunch. They're clearly tanking. And then we go on to the Houston Texans. I think this is only because I think the other two teams are a little bit better than this team. I think the Texans aren't a bad football team when they have Deshaun Watson on the field. I think that offense is still going to be able to generate some wins for them. Will it be as potent as it has in years past? No, I don't think so. Losing DeAndre Hopkins is a big loss. Yeah, they also lost Carlos Hyde, and then they lost one of their defensive backs in Jonathan Jones. That kind of sucks, but they picked up David Johnson in that trade. They got Randall Cobb, Brandon Cooks, Ross Blaylock, rookie, and this guy Jalen Watkins from the Chargers. So they seem to have tried to fill the void of DeAndre Hopkins and Carlos Hyde. David Johnson's a good running back. That's an improvement as long as he can stay healthy. Cobb and Cooks, that's a decent up. Like, you have more now than what you had in the past. But I don't know if less was more in this case. With having DeAndre was less is more. Do I think they're going to be a little bit worse than last year? Yeah, because I don't think their defense is. I think their defense is somehow worse than it was last year, and I don't trust that. I think their offense is going to be just as potent, maybe a little less potent. Again, I think a lot of this more falls on the defense. And I'm also not necessarily a hater on Bill O'Brien. The guy's had like 1 or 2 bad seasons as the Texans head coach. One of those years was when they didn't have Deshaun Watson, or when they had to get. He's not a terrible coach. He's not the best coach. Trading DeAndre is stupid, and part of that I think is going to kind of. I don't know how this team's going to look. With no preseason, we're having to make a lot of assumptions based on moves, based on what we see the team having, kind of what we've heard and seen in camp, and I just don't know about this team's defense. Based on what it was last year, and based on the fact that I don't think they added a whole lot to fix it. That's why I have them in 8-8 in third place, missing the playoffs. Tough break for the Texans, but they still got to build that line and build up that defense quite a bit. So let's see if they can get there. And then we have the Tennessee Titans. You notice I do not have them highlighted. I highlighted the playoff teams, and I will go back to the Titans. And they're one of those teams that once I do all of the AFC teams, I'm going to wait and do wild card teams unless you're a for sure lock as a wild card team. Like, you have over 10 wins, you're getting in. So we'll see how that, like in the case of like maybe the NFC South, Tampa Bay and New Orleans, I have them both winning 11. They're both clearly going to probably make the playoffs. So both of them will be highlighted. In this case, I can't mark the Titans. I don't know. They've lost quite a bit. And a lot of people aren't really talking about this. Logan Ryan, Jarrell Casey, Jack Conklin, Wesley Woodyard. Those are not like small name players. Those are pretty good players. I mean, they did add in Vic Beasley, Christian Fulton, and Isaiah Wilson. They retained, Derrick Henry for a little while longer. So it's not like they're bare, like the cupboards are bare, but like those are some really good players to lose, especially Conklin on the offensive line. I know Wilson, I believe, is a rookie offensive lineman they picked up. Beasley's a very good defensive player to kind of, Jarrell Casey. They made some decent moves. We'll see. I think with what they've lost, I don't know if they're going to be as good as they were last year. Plus, they also don't really have that like surprise element where they came at teams last year. Everybody kind of knows, all right, now we have to respect a little bit of Ryan Tannehill. We have to pay attention to Derrick Henry. We know what this offense is going to be. It's just our team's prepared to deal with what Derrick Henry brings to the table. That'll be what determines how this goes forward. Are they going to be able to stop Henry? And when they stop Henry, are they going to have enough left on their defense to deal with the fact that Tannehill can throw the ball to these talented wide receivers? So it's one of those things where you're not too sure with Tennessee. You want to see it again, and you want to see how teams have responded to knowing what that team is now and what that team has to offer, because I feel like a lot of Tennessee's success last year came in when Ryan Tannehill came in, and teams were not very sure how to play that team with the emerging Derrick Henry just kind of barreling down people and Ryan Tannehill kind of finding his footing. So it's kind of, well, now that people know what to expect, how will teams respond to Tennessee? They lost quite a bit. I don't know how these two rookies they draft. They drafted some good rookies. These are the two top ones in my opinion. How do they fill in? I don't know. I guess that all kind of remains to be seen. And that's why I have them in second. And I feel like everybody kind of seen this coming. I don't like doing this because I'm not a big fan of the Colts. I don't really like this team. I would have loved to have had the Titans win this division or the Texans win this division outright. or even the Jaguars. But I feel like they're the class of this division. They got way better than last year. Listen to this. They lost Eric Ebron, offensive lineman Joe Haig, and Jonathan Williams, a running back. They added DeForest Buckner, Phillip Rivers, Michael Pittman Jr., Jonathan Taylor, Trey Burton, Xavier Rhodes, Sheldon Day, and Jordan Glasgow. This team literally lost a few guys, and they added in so many people because they had so much cap room. I know Xavier Rhodes, I think, is sitting out this season, but I believe most of the rest. DeForest is playing. Rivers is going to be there. Pittman's a promising rookie, already looking good. Taylor was a very good college running back with a very good offensive line now. Burton, well, if he can stay healthy, he's pretty good. And the other two, Day and Glasgow, are good as well. I'm not too certain about them, but yeah, and I think a lot of what the Colts' problem was, like I said, they started out really good last year. Jacoby Brissett hurt his knee, and then once he came back, that team never played right again. His knee injury, I think, was a lot worse than what the media tried to let it on, and I think he rushed back from injury. That's what I think the problem was, because if you watch, you can go watch the way he played pre and post injury. Very different quarterback. So I'm wondering if he rushed back, and that's part of the issue with the kind of the skimmier play, with the shittier play from Brissett last year. And I think now that they have a quarterback, great offensive line, decent weapons for Phil to work with, this is one of the better situations Phil's been in. He's been in some pretty good ones. This is a really, really good one. Great defense, great offensive pieces around him, great coaching system. I really like what the Colts have put together. Frank Reich's a very good head coach. Phillips probably going to the Hall of Fame. This is a very good team, guys. A lot of people like the Colts to be a Super Bowl contender when they had Andrew Luck, a capable quarterback. Phillip Rivers, very capable quarterback. I think this team, I don't know about contender, but I think this is a playoff team, and I think a very dangerous team at that. So this is how I kind of have the AFC South going. I have the Colts winning it, 11-5, the Titans second, 9-7, potentially a wild card team depending on how I predict the rest of the AFC. The Houston Texans at 8-8, and then the Jaguars at 3-13, possibly worst record in the league. It seems like they are clearly tanking. Ignore this. So this is my playoff picture so far. Like I said, the Colts won't be the number one seed until more teams get in. Then I'll adjust the seeding as it goes. But they're the only playoff team so far. So that's pretty much the end of that so far. So that's the start of everything. That's going to be the first video. That's the AFC South. Again, that's the Colts, Titans, Texans, and Jaguars. That's how I have it finishing, with only so far the Colts making the playoffs. Titans could make it in. Again, the Titans could make it in depending on how I feel like the rest of this is going to go. When I get a good look at teams, the way that they built their teams, how I remember their team last year, just all sorts of things, what players might be sitting out. So yeah, there we go. So that's the AFC South. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you gave a good listen, I appreciate it very much. If you leave your thoughts down below on my predictions, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you're new around here. I get back to I appreciate those very much, and it does help grow the channel. The likes, the subscribing, free to do, all sorts of good stuff. So expect the NFC South video to be released today as well as the AFC West and NFC West. There's various times throughout the day they'll be uploaded. So thank you so much for listening. I can't wait for the start of the season. I know you guys can't either. So I'll get out of here. Thank you for listening. Have a good rest of your day. Colts win the AFC South. What do you think? Peace out. Go Patriots. Go Lions. I'll see you around. Thanks for listening. I'm Rob.